Hi, everybody.
Hi, Debbie.
Welcome to
Hi,
our
Andy.
show. Hi, Kevin. Hi,
Hey.
Andy. Okay. I don't know about you guys, but I'm recovering from that full moon. I freaking think everybody went crazy for a couple of days. I do. It was like so much going on, so crazy. Everybody's personalities out of whack. But anyway, hopefully everything that everybody manifested for they'll get it. So, Kevin, welcome back. I guess you had a real exciting time.
I did. I just got back from Camp Chesterfield up in Indianapolis and Chesterfield, Indiana, that area. And the temperature dropped to minus 13. So it's nice to be back in 75-degree Florida.
Oh my gosh.
No doubt.
I couldn't function. I don't even know what that is.
It's like knives going through your ears, your nose. Oh, it's brutal.
Oh my goodness. I've only been in something like that in Idaho. And I went there with California clothes. And I felt it like go right into my bones. And that was it. I can't live in the cold.
Yep.
Though Andy's living in the cold.
It's like a blizzard right now, and there's just tons of snow. We got dumped on, I don't know how many inches, maybe 6 inches or so. I'm not even sure, but we got more snow today. They're planning on more, and they've got the snow plows out. I've got to get my snowblower out. Lots of ice, but thank you, God, I have not gotten into an accident or slid or any of that. But
yeah, driving in the snow is not easy. I actually lost control of my car on one of the most famous bridges here in San Diego County because it's so high, and you can't do anything. I was just sliding around, going, saying my prayers, but I kind of went into something when I was saying my prayers, and I feel like I got saved when I was snow skiing once because I didn't know what I was doing. So I decided to go up the lift and then just zigzag down. How easy is that? Wow. Well, the zigzag went straight and I took off and I'm screaming and people are saying, "Oh, you're doing so good." I'm like, I don't know. I can't stop. I didn't take the lesson on the bunny slope, you know. And I prayed and prayed and prayed, and the skis stopped short of the concrete building. I'm feet from it. It just magically, they stopped me.
Wow.
So no, I don't want the snow. I'm with Kevin. Let's just visit once in a while.
All right.
Well, you guys, thanks for coming in tonight to our show, and we decided that we'd like to have just the three of us and talk and find out about all these great things. If you follow Kevin, you know that he's got some exciting things that happened while he was gone. And also we want to talk about our favorite books and some other little things and ghost stories and stuff. So Kevin, we cannot wait to hear whatever you want to tell us that happened.
Absolutely. So I just want to say hi, Carlos. Good to see you again, Champagne. And just great to have you on the show tonight. So this weekend, it's interesting because we're in January now, almost February. Wow. Can't believe that already. So about 3 months ago, I started sensing Spirit wanted me to look into trance mediumship, which is like trance channeling. Okay. And I could feel that they wanted me to begin studying and developing and unfolding this gift of Spirit. And all of a sudden, about probably a few weeks later, this weekend at Camp Chesterfield popped up on the radar. And it was with one of the, I don't know what you'd call her, but basically one of the great old mediums of Camp Chesterfield who's still working is Linda Cataret. And a marvelous trance medium herself, a marvelous platform medium. And so she put together this special weekend to really to teach us about ethics, integrity, and standards in mediumship when we do our trance, but also to teach us how easy it is to go into an altered state, to raise our vibration, and to allow Spirit to connect with us, to connect with our mind and our etheric self, and then to allow that inspiration to just gracefully and graciously come through and to be shared for a recipient. And I wondered what it would be like this weekend, and I found there were a lot of people that were much more advanced than me, which was interesting. And I was kind of the newbie because for 11 years I focused on platform mediumship and just regular public mediumship. So I'd always put trance mediumship or trance channeling development on a shelf because I thought eventually I will step into that realm and learn that. So now it's time. And it's funny because as I booked this weekend, all of a sudden other events popped up. There's another trance mediumship development in Boston with the famous Scott Milligan and radio show host Sandra Champlain. And then they're bringing that weekend to Orlando in March. So there's a whole bunch of things popping up that are trance related. And actually, I just found out about another weekend back at Chesterfield, which is a camp sponsored weekend, which is trance mediumship development again. So there's all this trance that just seems to be swirling around me. And the weekend was great. We had about 30 students, and we basically worked on breathing, sitting, feeling spirit coming near us, and sensing who was around us, who was blending with us, and then what is their personality like? What's their characteristics like? How would they speak? Are they male or female? Maybe what does their voice sound like? And then we begin the process of just allowing beyond the breath, really, for them to come through, introduce themselves, and to begin to speak. Even if it's, say, for instance, in a state of consciousness, I might be 100%. But in an altered state, I might be, let's say, 75% Kevin. So my awareness is there 75%, but there's 25% of me that seems very groggy. I feel a little disconnected, but yet there's still information and personality coming forward. That's 25% spirit. And so they had us think about when we sit, when I'm talking to you right now, you've got 100% of me. When I close my eyes and I begin to breathe and I begin to center myself and go into the higher mind, there's less and less and less of me and more of spirit. And every time you sit, there's less Kevin and there's a little more spirit. So you can think of it in a percentage wise. And that really seemed to help a lot of the students get a good grasp on where they were percentage wise and growth wise. And students really like that. So I thought that was interesting. And we talked about, let's see, what was one of the big points of the weekend? Really just being in integrity with the work, because you have to definitely be respectful and professional in this work, and you have to be not manipulating the information that comes through, which is easy to do. Unfortunately, we've come across people that have manipulated information for ego reasons, or maybe they have personal reasons they want to share information with you under the disguise of a helpful spirit. So you really have to be in integrity and realize that the law of karma is in play. And if you are manipulating the information, you are creating negative karma for yourself that must be addressed at some point in this life or the next. So we talked about those very important factors, which I think are so important because people don't think about. We have personal responsibility for our actions as healers, as counselors, as readers, as public demonstrators or speakers or researchers. We have personal responsibility for what comes out of our mouth. And this is important. This was not discussed, but it is something I will say. Just because I can allow spirit to come forward doesn't mean that spirit is fully accountable for the negative things they bring forward, the harsh things they bring forward, hurtful things. So if you come across an intuitive or a healer that is putting everything on spirit that comes through them, I would say think twice about that person, because it is, yes, spirit has their own individuality, but our mouth, our own mind, our spirit, we are responsible for controlling what comes through us, and we're responsible. We're 100%.
Kevin, I have to interject here. 98% of what you just said, you just gave Andy and I a message.
Oh,
and we're smiling and we're looking at each other, and it's just blowing my mind right now. And I thank you
almost
for that.
word to word.
You just gave us a really powerful thing. Thank you. It was crazy.
This is crazy.
It's like you channeled exactly. We're just sitting there looking at each other going, oh my God.
Well, it's really true. It's really
validation, truth, you guys, truth.
I'm sure Spirit's listening, and I'm sure that's where that came from, because that last statement was not part of the weekend. That was something that's been in my mind, on my spirit for a little while. Hi, Julie. Good to see you again. And it was really wonderful. We got to see all of the students, we got to watch them go into an altered state, and with the teachers' assistants at their side, they were able to bring through one, sometimes two or three, if they were a little more advanced, different spirits to bring through philosophy, topics. A couple of them actually were pretty advanced, and they allowed us to ask some questions, which was nice. And so there was a Q&A dialogue between Spirit and between us students. And it was just beautiful to see so many different intuitives, I'll say, from different parts of the United States that worked in different ways. Their spirits that came through and channeled through them spoke in different ways, addressed topics in different ways. So it was fascinating. You got to see really a nice, what's the word, potluck, if you will, of trance channeling. And I was just very impressed with the whole experience. And I really recommend Camp Chesterfield as a place to go if people are interested in psychic or healing or spiritual mediumistic development. A great place, very welcoming community.
Kevin, when you have the spirit or entity that comes in, I tried it twice, and the shadow, like I had a shadow come at me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm open to this. Come on, let's do it. And the shadow comes, like, and then I go, okay, wait. I'm open. I'm good. And the shadow comes right in, and I go, nope. I can't get past that. Oh, no. Like, oh.
Did you feel something not right or unsettling with that shadow?
No, I think I'm a freaking control freak. Really. I'm like, because, like I'm all inviting. And then when it's right there, I'm just like, no. I don't know.
Right. You have the right.
And I want it, but I have to get past that. But I have seen the shadow. The shadow comes right in and right up to me. And, there's nothing else there, guys. And I did it twice, and I was like, oh, I don't know that I'm ready for that. So, but I want to do it.
But when you're ready, I mean, at some point you'll find a good teacher locally, and they'll hold your hand and they'll guide you through, and you'll be protected. They'll do it.
Well, I just got to let it happen, I think. But I think it would be so awesome to really to be able. I know that I channel when I type and when I speak a reading and things like that. Yep. And especially when I create something, I write some big thing for some of the things that I do for clients. And I go, gee, I don't know where that came from. So I know that wasn't me, but I would love to just be able to speak and give wisdom from the other side and all of that.
You definitely can. All you have to do when you sense spirit channeling or bringing through information to type and write and present, when you're done, or maybe even during, try to slow down and just breathe and allow spirit to draw near and say, just impress upon me, who are you? What is your title? Or what are you bringing? Why are you bringing this through? What is your purpose for working with me? And just have a dialogue with them and just say, I'm not ready for you to blend.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do talk to everyone a lot, of course, constantly during the day and when I'm doing readings and things like that. But yeah, I need to get a little bit more personal there and get information and see if I can get that and see if I feel comfortable with them doing that, because I'd love to do that. I love it.
You're already receiving communication through your typing and through your reading. So it's just a natural step. Well, who is it coming from? Who are you? Why are you here? What's the purpose? And how can we take this to the next level in a safe way, a slow way?
Now, can I ask you a question? Did you go ahead and did something speak through you that while you were gone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Does that feel funny as far as your vocal cords or your voice or anything?
It was really interesting because the very first time I thought, oh gosh, I'm going to barely speak any words, and these people are chatterboxing for 5 minutes, all the students, and I'm like, wow, I'm good at other things, not at this. I'm a beginner. Even though I know the principles, I've never really done it to any degree. So I warned the teacher, and I said, you got to help me out. So he guided me in an altered state, had me breathe, had me call spirit forward. And a gentleman came forward, and I could tell that he had a deep voice. So as I was opening my mouth and allowing him to begin speaking, to say good evening, it's a pleasure to be here, something like that, I noticed my voice dropped really low. And then I began to pull back from my spirit, pulled away from my body, a little behind it, not fully out, but a little back, because I could feel my mind hazy. I guess that's the best way to describe it. A little fuzzy. And it just was like inspirational thoughts coming forward. And I thought, I'm just going to speak what's coming forward. It's not really me. And I kept reassuring myself. And so I did that. And I noticed my breath is very strange. My lungs feel strange. I'm not breathing right. And so I kept saying to myself, breathe, breathe, in my head. And what it was this spirit was trying to breathe through me to control my body, to control my voice. And I was focusing too much on the lungs, trying to let the voice speak and making sure I was breathing and not stopping breathing. And that's what one of my problems was. It was a strange sensation. I was almost fighting my own breathing. And then I could feel my eyes were very wet throughout. They were closed, but they were wet. And so when I finished, probably two minutes worth of dialogue, not much. And I spoke on the topic of personal responsibility and free will choices and things like that. And as I came out, I realized there were tears had come out of my eyes, and my breathing was still a little labored. And I told the teacher, I said, I feel very strange. And I told him the symptoms, and he said, that's because you were in the beginning states of being entranced. And he said that those are beautiful physiologic signs. And he said, that's exactly what we want to see. Your body's changing. You don't have emotion, but yet your eyes are tearing because they're altering your body chemistry. So that was wonderful. And the student said, who was he? He sounded British. And I said, well, I don't know what you're talking about. I remember a deep voice. I don't remember anything British. And they said, no, we heard a British accent coming out of you. And I couldn't hear that. So that was interesting.
Wow.
My voice dropped real low, and it just felt like my throat shifted downward, and they could hear something that I wasn't aware of. So that was interesting to me as a student. And then at another exercise, I was able to bring through the evidence of a woman's spirit guide and allow him to speak to her for the first time. And she knew his name and she knew all about him. And then I brought through some evidential points of his behaviors in life back 200 years ago, because he actually wrote a lot of books. He was a French monk who had written some mystical books. And I told her about some of his, I outed one of his bad habits. But then I talked to her about some of the books that he loved. Basically, it was it. He was really a big lover of wine. And anyway, so she confirmed a lot of the evidence that I brought forward. So that was really fascinating.
Yeah.
Hmm? That would be fun. Oh,
Right. Oh.
We've got a lot of viewers tonight. It's great.
I think Debbie dropped. Here she is.
Yeah,
Hi, Julie.
it blinked on and off and sent me to the lobby and then right back. I was like, I think that was a yes or a no. I don't know.
I think it's time. I think they want you to do it now.
Oh, fat chance. That's for sure. Kevin, though, you did give us some portraits, or did you have precipitation mediumship there?
Yes. So I went to another seance while I was there. There's another gentleman on the campus named Reverend Hoyt Robinette. He's the #1 precipitation medium in the world. Here's an example of my card. You can see my name in the middle. This is what we call precipitation mediumship or spirit card writing. This is technically the front of the card. And you can see the spirits' names. They have written their names. And you can see some have even specifically chosen a color that matches their name. There's a faint silver pin, metallic pin, which wrote the word Silver Bell. I like that. And you can see there's one of my relatives on there named Sammy, and Robert, a former partner of mine who died, and then a few others. I study a lot about Jesus and Mother Mary and biblical teachings. I'm always talking about that. So Master Jesus has stepped in to sign to show his support for my work. That means a lot to me. And just some wonderful things there. So there is another image, Andy, that has 2 swans. This is the back side of the card. So it's a 2-sided blank white index card that goes into a little basket full of all types of crayons, markers, pencils, charcoals, paints. The basket is literally full.
Is that this one, Kevin?
No, that's something I'll speak about in a moment. It's the one with the 2 swans on it.
Andy, you can take me out off screen if to make the image maybe bigger.
I will jump out for a second, actually,
Okay.
and then I'll. Kevin, I may not have that. I may have missed that photo, but I do have this one. Does that?
Let's see.
I know I can only see half of it.
Yeah, and that's as big as it gets.
Okay, well, that's it. So what you viewers are looking at.
Oh, look at that face.
In the top left corner of that card is Charlie Swan. He's a very famous materialization medium from Camp Chesterfield's history. And he began his career as a teenage minister and medium. And what's interesting about him is that I've known he's followed me for several years now in my research and my wanting to develop this phenomena. So he finally has shown himself on a card to me, and that's when he was an older gentleman before he passed. So beautiful image. Isn't it interesting that right below him are 2 swans? So we have Charlie Swan at the top, and we have 2 swans at the bottom. So we have 2 competing symbols, but it's the same symbol, really. And what Spirit said was that the 2 swans represent the fullness of my mediumship. It's reached a level of maturity or adulthood, and it's ready to present and go forward. And that's really what Spirit has been telling me, is that you've learned enough, you've taken enough classes, you know you need to be out there lecturing, presenting, and doing. Now just do the work. So really take flight, begin your migration, and travel, and spread your beauty and your grace everywhere. Really, that's what that symbol means. So I find that card to be incredibly poignant, beautiful, and so it just touches my heart. And that was fully precipitated. No human hands touched that card other than when we dropped them into the basket, closed the lid, and the basket sat in front of us the whole time. And that took about 45 minutes total for about 25 cards to develop for all of the guests that were present. And so the card goes in perfectly blank and white, comes right out of a perfectly sealed container from Office Depot, actually.
In this particular one, did you have crayons or did you have pink marker?
Everything. There are Sharpies, there are crayons, there are oil pastels, there are gel pens, there are ballpoint pens, there are colored pencils like watercolor pencils, there's watercolor paints, there are standard pencils, and even maybe a block of lead, like a writing lead if you wanted to write something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like put them on top of the paper and place them?
The medium builds we call it a sacred container. So basically he builds layers of the pigments, we'll call them, the crayons, the gel pens and whatnot, a handful of those in, and then maybe 5 or 10 cards are dropped in on that layer. Then another handful of pigment is dropped on top of that, meaning the crayons and pens and whatnot. Then another handful of cards are dropped in, and basically creates a lasagna effect and closes a lid on it. So the room was full of light, but the basket is full of darkness. So it created a seance room cabinet of sorts to concentrate the energy in the dark. And spirit pulls from the ectoplasmic life force of the medium predominantly, but also from a little bit from all of us present in the circle. And then that energy goes towards the basket, and it's produced in the basket by spirit. No human hands have produced this.
Amazing. Was there any other pictures that you wanted us to show?
I will say, Grizel, yes, everything is dumped in there, and then spirit begins painting and writing. But they're not picking up the pens and the paints, and they are not writing with these real tiny little fingers and hands. They're actually dematerializing the pigments and paints and rematerializing them through thought control to create images and signatures and writing. And it's all done by thought control. So there's no actual materialized fingers, hands, or even paintbrushes or anything. Nothing like that.
Wow. That's just so fascinating to me.
And what you're seeing on the screen now, this was actually from a Saturday night all-message gala where we had 4 mediums demonstrating. This medium in particular produced, this is called a spirit flame card message. And the medium begins delivering clairvoyance, mediumistic messages from spirit. He identified several spirits that were around me, spirit guides that were around me. And then he has a candle that's lit, and this piece of paper is a postcard stock, probably 5 inches by 8 inches, so it's quite large. And he begins to hold it. Say, for instance, this is a candle. I don't know if you can see it. And then he holds this paper over it and begins to move it around as he's inspired by spirit without catching that paper on fire. And then when he's done, he just flips it over and begins to interpret, much like tea leaf reading, really. He's just interpreting the patterns. What is he inspired to see or say? And what you cannot see in that image, because it's cut off, are 2 little trumpets at the bottom, which looks like it's coming from 2 trumpeting mediums or spirits. And then that again reminds me that, sometimes they call swans trumpeting swans or trumpeter swans. So my card the next day had 2 swans on it. So I think the vibration of this mediumship continues night to night to night. So it's just a beautiful way to work. I've seen in these spirit flame card messages, I've seen golden flakes appear, and the candle is pure white. There's no color. I've seen color appear, precipitated color in this black soot that materializes and is manipulated by spirit onto that paper. And so there should be no color there because the candle again is white, but yet it's there. And what they're doing is they're using the life force energy of the medium to materialize color and pigment into the smoke. Really amazing, but not a lot of people can do that. It takes a lot of power.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe we could, with your permission, we can post that picture in Facebook so people can see the bottom, because I've seen the bottom where the trumpets are. They're they're very clear.
I've seen animals. I've seen people's faces with mustaches, even moles that are recognizable in the right location. I've seen aliens. I've seen symbols like stars, very unique stars in these smoke flame card billets and messages. I've seen letters appear. Fascinating. So anything's possible because they're manipulating a precipitated type element. It's coming out of the fire and out of the smoke, and they literally almost magnetically put it where they want it to go. So it looks like something to inspire you, the medium, to say to the recipient.
Wow. I'm going to try that. Today,
Yeah.
I felt the need to like make a big bowl of sage and Palo Santo,
Oh,
and I lit it, and I got a real big surprise. I just kept looking at it and say, "What the heck?" And the flame was like a neon yellow, like
yeah.
neon, and I was
Wow.
like, "I've never seen that before." And
Wow.
I go, "Okay, here we go," and we are going to just like smudge that whole backyard. But
Wow.
that's okay. I will try that without burning anything down.
Well, I would tell you, so when I teach this class on spirit flame card messages, I learned my lesson once the hard way. I burnt a tabletop at a public event in a public space. So because I didn't do it, the students did. But what happens is the students go so slow and they get distracted, and then they stop over the flame and they're talking, and then that card heats up and poof, it goes into the flame, and they throw it because they're scared. So you really need to have a large bowl with some water in the bottom, and you tell the student you must throw it in the bowl if it catches fire, because otherwise it'll land on your carpet. It could land on your papers or drapery. You really got to be prepared when you work with students, because a lot of them don't really know. They haven't mastered the technique of manipulating it over flame, and usually that card will get so hot it'll burst into flames if you're not careful.
Oh wow! Oh my goodness! I was at an event. I participated in an event in a beautiful, beautiful building, and one of the people, or a couple of the people, decided that they were going to smudge in this beautiful oak paneled carpeted room, and I'm just sitting there going, flames and everything like that. Distance yourself. You have nothing to do with this, just in case something went really, really, really wrong. But it was okay. I didn't see anything in the news that later anything burned down. But I was like, oh my gosh.
I sent a list of, actually, no, I posted it on your timeline, Psychicfixes. And there was Andy's poll that he created. I put on there 5 books specifically related, very good historical books, very detailed. These are great books on precipitation mediumship, all of this card writing, precipitation type stuff. And some of them are very old and very hard to find, but these are great books. And so hopefully,
I'm getting them.
Me too.
I'm telling you.
Get them.
You're going to be shocked. You're going to be, and think of slate writing. Debbie, you must know about slate writing, right? That was popular in California. No, I would think so.
No.
All the spiritualists out there. So slate writing. Remember, 150 years ago, did they have paper and pen and ink? No, that was only for the rich and the governmental system. So what did they have? What did they have on Little House on the Prairie? They had little slate boards that the children wrote on with chalk.
Is that like a chalkboard?
Yes, it's like a little chalkboard in your hand. I don't have that example.
Yeah,
That's slate writing. So what is slate? But it's a very thin rock, actually. And so basically they commercialized it, pulverized it, powderized it, and then made commercial slates for children to write on. But anyway, 150 years ago, the mediums realized that spirit would begin to pick up their slates in the room and write on them with chalk. So they started utilizing them to receive messages from spirit and to write letters to spirit. And they used to receive messages and beautiful pictures on their slate board. And because they had no way to record it, they just wiped it clean and started fresh the next night. So all of that beautiful evidence from spirit, there was no way to record it. And so there's very few live examples of slate writing that you can find, but you can find them in the museums at Camp Chesterfield, and you can find them at Lilydale Spiritualist Assembly in New York. And they're beautiful pictures of spirit guides and flowers and all kinds of things, and beautiful handwriting. There's some beautiful examples. And one of those books that I posted on your timeline, Ron Nagy, who's a Lilydale historian, has written really extensively on it. That's a great book about slate writing. And a lot of people have the potential to do it. You can still buy them and do the
I'm gonna get the slate. I got it written down. I'm gonna do it.
Same principle. They are not picking up the chalk and writing with it per se. They're dematerializing the chalk and then rematerializing it in images and writing on the chalkboard.
You guys remember my story about being in that hotel room when they wrote above my head and pressed it into the wallpaper,
Yes.
and that, freaked out my sisters to no end. But I was like, oh, well, okay. Do we have to pay for that? I guess it's pretty much my name is written on the wall. And so I know that, absolutely know, and that can happen. So I'm in. I'm going to try that. I wonder
if any of our attendees have ever experienced precipitation or spirit writing. I'd be curious to know, because Debbie, you've had great experiences. I've had experiences, and some people, maybe they've seen faces appear on paper or on wallpaper in paint. I've even heard of a spirit face forming in what do they call that? Freezing precipitation on a window. They could see the face form in that precipitated little thin layer of ice on a window.
Mm-hmm. I wonder what it was when I was just dealing with somebody who saw like a face on a wall or on something. And when I had the experience of this man's face coming on a closet door, and that was really freaky, to the point where I took that door off and I threw it away.
Wow.
I didn't have a good feeling about him. Wow. But I'd go in and there's the man in my child's room, and I'm like, I can't do this. Forget it. But I know it's just like the stuff that we get to explore and see is amazing and fun. It really is. But that was just, I was like a new mommy, and I'm like, there's some strange man, on the door. So how they say like there's a monster in the closet. Well,
yeah.
I don't think that was a monster, but it was a man.
And here I am looking at my door.
I'm sure you have faces in it. I'm sure.
The alien or something. Yep. Well, we do have want to talk about books. We have just a little bit time left that we can talk. And I know that I just got a new book, The Complete Dictionary of Ailments and Diseases, which people would, there you have it. People would think that this is a book on, like looking up the cold or different things. But it really is a book of looking up what physically manifested in the body and the root, more like the spiritual or metaphysical root to where it came from. So I can't wait to open it up and start reading, where some of this stuff comes from. But it's very much like a regular medical dictionary. So I'm really excited to look at that. And that's by Jacques Martel. So I'm excited on that. And one that that was borrowed and I just got back from Adrian is Edgar Casey's Encyclopedia of Healing.
Oh, I've heard good things about that one.
Yeah, I still have to get more into that one, but I love Edgar Casey and all the
amazing story.
I still will still manifesting for the right hypnotherapist to come into my life and to try to replicate his going out of his body and getting information for his patients. I dearly want to do that. I would, if I could do that, I would do that forever.
It would be amazing.
Help
amazing.
I was curious. Oh, sorry.
I wanted to say that for the viewers, Edgar Casey is an amazing example of not only a trance medium, like a trance channeler, but also of a healer. He's a spiritual healer. And so if you're interested in either of those, go pick up Edgar Casey books, learn about him. Amazing history. He has a center that the family still runs in, is it Richmond, Virginia, if I'm not mistaken?
Virginia.
Okay.
I know it's in Virginia, yeah.
And highly recommend you guys look up Edgar Casey. Amazing. And I just love reading those books and the crazy stories. And he literally burned his own light out by doing so many readings, and Spirit warned him, if he didn't slow down, he would be going to the other side, and he went.
If I remember right, he knew the day and time of his death, his own
Wow.
death. It's amazing. One more book I want to show you guys, The Miracle of Metaphysical Healing.
Ooh.
And I don't know if you got that. Thank you, Andy. So I have read this, and then I think I lent it out and couldn't find another copy, so I bought it again. And this one is interesting, where you look at the element, and then it tells you how to manifest on it for healing, and tells you some of the people that got healing or cured from doing it. And so I'm really excited to delve into it again. My other book, if I find it, is got all my little flags in it of everything. So I kind of have to start over on that. But it tells you what to do. Like if you have arthritis, then this is how you manifest your cure for that. This is how we're going to fix it. And then I'll talk about the people that did manifest for arthritis and how they were healed. So I'm really excited about getting this back into my life. And you can kind of see these are healing books. I am a healer, and I love sending healing energy, and had lots of validation. And I think there's so much more to it that we can learn on how the mind, the body, the spirit manifests diseases and stuff as a biological creature we are, and how we can use energy, the energy of Reiki, or I just do energy and different things that we can do to heal the body. One of my favorite people ever is Thomas Nordwest. And whenever I have a client that has a physical ailment, I said, just go to YouTube and put his name in. And he has videos of sound and color. And so you go through and you say, I got a broken heart. Watch that one. I have arthritis. Watch this one. He literally has videos for just about anything. And I used to really follow his Facebook page when his followers would say, I'm completely cured of that ringing in the ear and this and that and the other. So I think that we have to explore all these things. I think color is very energetic and healing, and we should try all these modalities of healing. So I've got my homework now to work on. So you guys have a favorite book?
I was looking at all of these books you guys have. I have probably, I have two of yours, Kevin. This one, Opening to Channel.
Yep.
And then I also do have this one. I still have to read though.
Oh, great!
So you want to be a medium?
Yep. Yeah. Great book.
For me, I don't do a lot of reading unless it is metaphysical. So I am gonna get those books and do some practice.
I hope the viewers will actually post on the timeline their favorite books on, healing or metaphysics, things that have really changed their life, where they found to be profound, transformational type books. So that would be helpful to others.
Right.
Andy, do you have some of Kevin's favorite books on photos or images?
And while he's looking for that, Debbie, who was the gentleman on YouTube? Thomas who?
Nordwest, Nordwest.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. I followed him for years, and he's just this really wonderful soul, and developed that. And I thought it was amazing. And I've sat and watched them. They can vary from just being over 2 minutes to watch to about 20 minutes. And you just got to crank up the speakers and sit in front of it and watch the color. Hopefully everybody's got, nowadays the color's true, to what you're supposed to be looking at. But it's very helpful. And I love anything that you do to help heal yourself. I feel really good energy from him. So you should just check it out anyway.
Check that out. That's great. And I will tell you, anyone we started the tonight off with talking about trance mediumship and channeling. In my experience, I will tell the listeners that next month at Camp Chesterfield, there is a follow-up weekend, which is for beginners and intermediate people. Anyone is welcome. And that is on February 16th and 17th. And it's called the 2019 Trance Mediumship Intensive Weekend at Camp Chesterfield. And it's very reasonable, $125. The hotel on campus is a great, very, very affordable, cheap hotel. And they will learn a lot. It's a great way to go and begin. It's safe. They're supportive. They don't push you. You have the opportunity to pass if you don't wish to. You just want to observe. So they're really accommodating. And I really hope people would be interested in attending.
That's awesome. Amazing. I'm manifesting to go out there. I'm so excited. We are counting down on the time right now. And I want to tell you guys that I've been working on a lot of stuff. A couple missing persons now. I just got a new one. And, but a friend of mine was calling in my group, the Dead Talk, to go clear an apartment where a young man committed suicide. And when we got together and we said, okay, we're coming out, and we were stopped because the management went in and already started tearing it apart and painting it and cleaning up and all that. So we never did go in and clear that apartment, make sure that we did a soul rescue or whatever needed to be done. And so I got an update today, just actually about an hour and a half ago, where she said, I just want to tell you that the new tenants, the older woman came to the office, and she was, we asked, like, how are you doing? And she said, I don't know. She said, there's days that I just want to kill myself. There's days I don't want to live. And it was such an out of character thing. She just kept kind of repeating that, I'll be okay. Then there's days that I want to just die. I kind of I don't want to go on. And so I said, well, I think there's some energy still in there if this is not like a usual way she acts. So what do you guys think?
Wow. Yeah, it sounds like she was picking up those spirits and kind of in a way channeling them. They probably had drawn so close to her light, and she literally was embodying those spirits, and the spirits were probably, I don't like the word feeding, but they definitely were blending with her light to find peace and solace. But it was causing a negative effect on her.
Yeah. Oh, Andy, you know how we talk about Scrabblies, that kind of dark, inky energy that, like Kevin said, feeds off of grief or whatever they can. I think that something's going on there. And so I thought it was interesting. We got to make sure that when we move into new houses, that not only it's cleared, it's blessed. And then we go live in it. Make sure what's going on is good, positive information.
Sorry.
Sarah's right. Clear that.
Yeah. Excuse me. Debbie, that reminds me, as a child, I must have been maybe 10 or 11. And my grandma used to do that, but she wasn't on the metaphysical side. She was more on the religious side of it. And I remember her going through our bedrooms when we had first moved back then, and she would do prayers, and I didn't even know what she was doing, but she was cleansing our house because there was people that had lived there prior.
She's like a grandma shaman.
Right. So that I found that.
Well, let me tell you. Yeah, there's a lot of people that come from the old country or a long time ago. They have their rituals or superstitions or their religious beliefs or whatever. And I had a friend whose grandmother, really would go smoking the whole house with the some metal thing and some kind of incense, and people do pray in the corners and they do all kinds of stuff. My mother was very superstitious, but it wasn't about in our house, you guys. I was in a haunted house. I grew up in a haunted house.
Wow.
Things flew. Fireballs would chase my sister. I'm talking about. It was like really crazy. And yet my mother is superstitious about spitting in the wind and burying things down in gopher holes. So I don't know. I was like, it would have been really better if you like banished the demon in the other room. But she grew up, everybody kind of grows up with their superstitions and things like that. Do you guys have any superstitions? I wonder if I do. I don't know.
I always...
Can you think of any?
Yeah, nothing really for bad luck, maybe for health things. Like I will rinse a glass out maybe 1 or 2 times before even though it's clean, I'll rinse it out, pour it out, and then I'll get a new glass. So I don't know why I do that, but I notice myself doing that. And it's kind of strange,
I have a lucky charm. I just got a charm that's the 4-leaf clover, and I got one of the bee. And the reason I do have things with bees around is because my name is Deborah, and that the meaning is the bee. So I did put those on my keychain with Saint Benedict medals, and I just bought more of them. And yeah, man, I got those Saint Benedicts whenever I go to anybody's haunted house. I'm like, stay back. So if my intention is that Saint Benedict medal is going to stop the demon from coming or whatever, I'm going to put it up there. But and we do know the story that he told the devil to drink his own poison. So
wow.
He's an awesome man. So you guys, let's give away a card and then take the night off. How's that? Well, actually, I have 3 readings to do. I can't take the night off.
Bless your heart.
So, yeah, it's busy, but I asked for it. I manifested for a lot of business. So you guys, let's viewers, please post a number from 1 to 100, including the number 1 and 100, and I will send you. How about Starbucks again? And you just have to contact me, private message, Psychic Fixes fan page, and with your email address, and I will instantly have an email sent to you so you can go get. What do you guys have at Starbucks? Kevin, you drink Starbucks.
Oh, yes.
You got one of those big like caramel maca latte, whatever.
It must be psychic. It's a grande caramel macchiato with soy milk. I want it hot, and I also want cream on top, even though it's milk based. Yes, that's what I order. That's Kevin.
Oh God, that's incredible.
I still remember.
That's the only long word I know in Starbucks.
I remember that the coffee order that my friend had taught me to order, because I'm like, what is that? That is so good. And this years ago, and I remember it still. And she says, I want a skinny cow, easy on the hot, with chai tea, fat-free, with whipped cream, and all this other. Yeah, it was like just a list. But, it does look like we have some numbers coming in.
I just go in and said, I'll take a grande.
I love it.
Oh, I just get coffee if I go and then full of cream. You guys know that. Okay, I'm ready for numbers. Post your numbers. Oh, Kevin, can you think of a number? Sorry.
I've got a number.
We have no.
Oh. Okay, we have Lori Reed Avery. Hi, Lori. She was in my mediumship class. She was my second. She was the second year student. So she's amazing. She can speak with the angels.
I love it.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, Lori has 57.
And we have Griselle. 35. And we have Carlos, 44.
I love that number 44. I think I always think for some reason I'm going to win on a scratcher if I get the number 44. It's just really weird. Okay, Sarah.
Yep. Sarah, MH100. And, Kevin, Sarah she was wondering if you were on the East Coast.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Julie has 72. And so far, that's all I have now.
Good. Okay.
Anybody else have a number from 1 to 100? I see more viewers, but
6 or 7 numbers.
Oh, thank you, Lori.
Lori.
Great. Thank you. We love the feedback. Okay, I think that we can go with the numbers that we have. Kevin?
Hi, Charles.
Did anybody get it?
Oh, we did.
Do we have one
more.
Okay.
Hey, Charles, welcome. Charles has 33.
Yep.
33. Okay, we're good. And Kevin, what's the number?
Well, the number was 3.
Ah.
So it's funny that Charles
so
33.
Charles.
I kept seeing the number 3 in my head.
Oh my goodness. Charles, double psychic.
I know, right?
Charles, you won a Starbucks gift certificate or gift card. So just private message me, and I just need your email address, and I will go on and purchase it and have it sent to you. And that's from Andy, Kevin, and I. Enjoy some kind of caramel macchiato.
That's
chocolate. There's enough money to get one thing, I think. So there you go. All right, you guys, I think it's time to go. And any last words, Kevin?
Let's see. Is there anything? I'll just say this. Being an intuitive, being a healer, being a medium, no matter what you do, know that there is something, whether you have spirituality, religion, or an understanding of the afterlife or not, realize that there is a universal, universal energy that responds, and we can manifest our desires by aligning our heart with the vibration of love and gratitude. If you can't comprehend the spirit world of life and all of that, the best thing you can do is to be a loving and kind person, because we have plenty of people on this planet that need a little bit of love and kindness and compassion. And also we need to stand in the vibration of gratitude. Just be grateful for what we have in our lives, what we have around us, and just serve your neighbors. Literally serve the people in your community around you, serve the people that come into your path on your everyday life, because the universe has guided them there to benefit from your light, to share in your light. So really, that's what I would say. I realize that not everybody understands the spirit world of life, or may not even understand the concept of what God is. They may be against it. I get that. But at least walk in the vibration of love and gratitude. You will have a very beautiful life, a very blessed life.
Oh, that's wonderful. Andy, do you have any last words here?
I would like to just say, thank you to all the new viewers. I appreciate our co-host, Kevin. You're amazing. You're always just wonderful to listen to. I know we have plenty of people out there that are going to rewatch this and relearn. Get those books. We have all the books posted. Debbie, you have just been a blessing to me. I have to tell you, I'm honored to be your friend, and you're my teacher, and you're my teacher, and the viewers as well. So that's what I have.
Oh, I love you.
For joining us this week.
Right. And you guys, no matter what comes, just deal with things with a lot of love and light and peace, and be that spiritual, wonderful being that you are meant to be. And we will see you next Wednesday.
Bye, Carlos. Thank you.
Sarah, you were right. Sarah has told me that she got 333. And Sarah, you should have done it.
and 3 is my favorite number.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Bye. Thank you for coming on. Love you.